first I have to congratulate Cassandra on her C6 speech, and I think it's very brilliant. So later I'm going to talk about, first I will go to talk about a brief instruction of, a brief account of your structure, and then I will talk about the two good parts of your speech, and then move on to two suggestions of mine, and then I will move on to my conclusion. Okay, so clearly this is a very well-structured speech that it begins with two questions to arouse the listener's attention, and then move on to a narration of her own experience in the library. And then she moves on to the last part as a conclusion that give us two teachings. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about the great part in this speech that I think the first one is her facial expression and her intonation variety. That the most difficult part in this speech is that Cassandra has had to play two persons' role. So she has to be Cassandra herself, and at another time to be the lady who seeks her help. So to make us distinguish between these two roles, she has to use a lot of different facial expressions and different intonations to help us know that, okay, this is not the people speaking, this is not the person speaking. And I think she did a very well job on this. Like when she is playing the lady who seeks her advice, she would be standing like this and use and her eyes will like rolling to show contempt. But when she is playing Cassandra, she will like at one hand being like very humble and very polite, but on the other hand, she will just turn and say, "Oh, that woman is really," things like that. So it's very interesting to look at these. Okay, maybe there will be three roles in this. Three roles: that the inner Cassandra, the outer Cassandra, and the lady. Right? It's very interesting and very. It gives us a lot of things to think about. So, and her intonation is very encouraged as well. That you use different kinds of sounds. Your sounds has it up and down, so that first your audience won't fall asleep because it's like a monotone like this. And the second is that we can know that there are different people speaking. Okay, I will move on to the second one. That is you use two questions as your opening that arouses your audience attention and will let us feel like, oh right, we feel about that when we get into library. And here are my two humble suggestions. That the first is your eye contact. It seemed to me that you were looking either at the ceilings or at the floor. So maybe my suggestion would be that you can look at one people in front of you for 5 seconds and then move on to another. And the second suggestion would be your conclusion. I think in your conclusion you gave us two teachings, but are they very important? If they were very important, maybe you would like to emphasize them more. Okay, and so my conclusion is that yes, this is a very interesting and very successful speech, and if you can work on your eye contact and your conclusion, then I think you will be perfect. Thank you.